What's up, guys? Got Troy with me here today.
What's happening, everybody?
You'll notice we are not in a bowling alley. We're on a tennis court.
Yeah?
Because today we're going to be talking about how you can use other types of sports equipment to practice your release. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already.
It's nice outside, you guys. This is the first time in a long time. We're pretty excited to do this. We've been talking about this for a little while, and we finally have the day to do it. It's been super windy here for like the past month, it seems like.
Yeah, it had been chilly. We had some good days here and there, but it's actually feeling like summer. It's so warm.
It's pretty nice out.
Summer's around the corner. People want to be outside, so using this other type of sports equipment is a good way for you to practice your release for bowling. In case you don't want to be inside. Of course, in the summertime, you might want to be in the air conditioning.
Or in case you just can't get to the lanes.
Yeah, can't get to lanes.
Lanes are occupied, leagues or parties or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they happen to have like a really burnout, birthday shot pattern down. So
they never do that. I don't know what you're talking about. This is also a good thing to learn because it's something you can just do by yourself in your house. Actually, this is something that I practice. I do myself. I'll just be messing with this bowling or with this other sporting equipment, trying to get my release down. We're gonna start with the old football because to me, the football is the best way to get feedback on how you're throwing the ball. The reason I like a football is its shape is going to tell you whether or not, if you're throwing it correctly, it's going to spiral. If you're not, it's going to wobble. So it's going to help you with not only being able to see the revolutions, but seeing that angle as well. Because when you're bowling, sometimes you'll hear people talk about chicken winging or getting their hand outside the ball. What that's doing is it's creating the ball to rotate at almost close to a 90-degree angle, perpendicular to the direction of the lane. And you don't want to do that because it's actually going to fight against and slow the ball down. Straight forward, when the ball is rolling completely forward, obviously you're not getting the angle or the rotation of the ball, getting that ball to hook unless you're using the weight block of the ball. So you're typically going to want to have the angle of the ball to be somewhere around 20 to 60 degrees or so. The perfect angle is going to be different for everybody depending on the shot, but the football is going to give you perfect feedback because you'll see if it's rolling end over end, then you're too end over end. If it's spiraling directly forward, then you're too far around the side of the ball. But if you can get a little bit of that angle going, it gives you that feedback that you're getting the right rotation. In addition to that feedback, it's going to also, we're going to be working on how you throw that ball, how you flick your wrist so that you can get that ball to actually get higher revs. So what you want to do is you want to start by talking about the grip of the ball. When you think about a bowling ball, your PAP or your PAP is generally not directly 1/4 the way around the ball from your grip. If it were, then that means your ball is probably rolling over your finger and thumb hole. It's usually a little bit closer to your palm because your track is actually going to be outside your fingers, and so the PAP is going to be down here somewhere a little bit. So when it comes to holding a football, we don't want to be holding the center of the grips here and being straight over this way because that's going to, if I throw the ball, actually I'll come over here and throw the ball to Troy and give you guys an example. If I were to hold the ball directly in the center of the grip right here, if I'm throwing it correctly, you will see the ball wobble. If you're grabbing too far down to the nose, way down here, you can see that if I throw a proper bowling motion, that ball wobbled. What we want to do is when you're grabbing the ball, if you look at where the laces are, you're going to grab the ball with your fingers down toward the bottom of those laces. So this nose of the football acts as your PAP and is a little bit closer to the palm of your hand. When you grab it like that and you throw it properly, you're going to get a spiral motion. So that's the first thing you want to do is you want to play around with where you grab it. It's going to be different for everybody. How you throw the ball is a little bit different, and so it's not going to be in the exact perfect spot, and it might wobble a little bit, and that's okay. You're not going to get perfect every single time, but try to just find that spot that feels good where you can grab it down here and achieve that spiral motion. Now once you've got that down, you know that you're gripping it in the right spot. Now we want to talk about getting that angle. Now if I throw this ball to Troy and it is pointed directly at him going this way, then that means I am a little too far around the side of the ball. It's great for playing catch, but as far as a bowling release goes, it probably means I'm going to be coming around the side of the ball too much. And if it's end over end this way, then obviously that ball is going end over end. I want to see the nose of the ball somewhat at an angle like this as it's flying toward Troy. So even if I grab it in the right spot, if I go straight up the back of it, that's to end over end. If I come all the way around, kind of chicken wing it a little bit and get the nose pointed toward him, looks great for playing catch, but I'm too far to the side of the ball. What I'm going for is that little bit of an angle, like that. So now that has somewhere around a 45-degree angle or so, give or take a little bit, but that is the angle that we're trying to achieve. And so if you can sit here and play catch with your friend and try to get that particular motion going on the ball, and then you know you're practicing a good release of the ball. Now once you've got that angle down, we're going to be talking about rev rate. Increasing your rev rate is all about getting the flick of that wrist. So the idea is you go from cupped to uncupped, back to cupped again. And so you can try that with a bowling ball. In fact, a lot of videos out there show people grabbing a bowling ball, and in front of them, they'll cup it, they'll go uncup, let it fall off their thumb, and rip back up with their fingers and get that ball to spin right at their feet. And it is a good practice for getting that motion down. That's obviously rolling end over end. And you don't bowl straight in front of you the whole way, so you actually want to get that swing in here. So that's where this football comes into play, because you can come back, but I am still going to cup my wrist as I'm bringing that ball back. So I'm cupping it, but as I go, if you remember from the last video, I talked about using your thumb as a directional point to point about 45 degrees from the angle of where you're throwing the ball to. So if you use that thumb, what you're really doing is you're going from cupped, pushing that thumb out, goes to uncupped. So we're going to uncupped with the ball as I push the thumb out, and you can see that's starting the ball on its rotation. As it's starting on its rotation, you're going to let go with the thumb, and then you're going to use your fingers grabbing those laces and ripping back up on the ball. And if you can get that uncup and then flick again, if you can get that motion down and get the timing just right, you'll get that ball to spin faster. So if I don't flick it really hard, I can throw it to Troy and it will spin and have some decent rotation on it. But if I want to work on really spinning it harder, I can try to flick harder. Now that wobbled a tiny bit, which is okay, but I can see that that ball is actually, has more revolutions on it. Okay, so that is also something that you can work on. Once you get the actual motion down, you can really work on flicking that wrist. It's the same exact motion you're going to have with the bowling ball. What if you don't have a football? No problem. Grab another ball. I got a miniature soccer ball here. Okay, this one's a little bit deflated so that I can grip it a little bit better, but it's the same thing, same motion. You're not going to notice the wobble or unwobble, but you can still see from all the print and everything that is on the ball, I can see the angle of the rotation. So if I'm going to throw this ball over here to Troy, it's the same thing. I can see how that ball is rolling at about a 45-degree angle. I can roll it end over end, and I know that's wrong. Or backup ball. I can be all the way on the side of the ball. Okay, so that's spun 90 degrees. That's wrong. We want to get more of that 45-degree or so rotation. And the flick of the wrist is what's going to allow you to really get that ball to spin faster. So you keep working on that and get that timing down, and you'll get that motion down correctly. Don't have one of these? How about a softball? I love using a softball. I don't like using a baseball because it's pretty small. You certainly use a baseball. Softball has the laces on it. It's got a place for your fingers to go. Same thing. Now, we don't have gloves here, so I'm not going to rifle this over at him, but it's the same idea. Same sort of flick of the wrist, same sort of rotation. Now, I can't really see anything on that particular ball as I'm throwing it to him, so it might be hard for you to see. You could put a piece of black tape on this, or if you say you had a yellow ball, you could put a piece of white tape on there to see how that ball is actually spinning. but it's the same concept. It's the same flick, same throw, trying to get that ball over to your partner. The nice thing about all of these, whether it's a football or whether it's a softball, is you can also do it by yourself. If you don't have a buddy to throw to, you can just throw the ball up in the air. You can see the angle, I can see it spinning. The only difference with this is that you're throwing it up, which is not your bowling motion, you're throwing it out. That's why I like using a partner. But you can see Troy behind me using the wall, which is another route to go if you don't have a partner to actually throw the ball to. So you're still getting that ball out, bounces back. Now you can do this with a softball. Softball's not quite as bouncy. You can do it with a tennis ball. Okay, a tennis ball, it's a little bit smaller. Don't love the grip, doesn't have anything for me to grab onto really, but I can sit here and throw it myself and I can still see the rotation of that ball moving, and I can throw it against the wall and practice that sort of throw. Now, what if all you got is a basketball, or what if you're a two-hander? Basketball is going to be really hard to do. You can't really grab onto a basketball unless you got a huge hand span. You're not going to really be able to grab onto it. So it's a lot harder to practice with a basketball one-handed, but two-handed, you're not really spinning it. The other hand is acting as your thumb, so it's actually just holding it for you. So you're really just kind of letting go, but you're using that other hand to get that same motion and watching the basketball spin correctly off the wall. You can also do this with the partner as well. So it's a good way to practice if you're a two-hander getting that same particular motion down. Now you can use a football if you're a two-hander, same thing. It's just instead of grabbing it and using your thumb to grab the ball, I'm going to take my thumb off of it a little bit and use my other hand here. And again, I'm not using my other hand to spin it, just using my other hand to hold the ball. So I can come back here and work on throwing it. So if I go back to Troy, so I'm taking my thumb off of the ball, so it's really just kind of sitting there. Fingers are still in the same spot. And really, I could even just use one finger just to use it as a balancing point. Come back here, and I can do the same thing over to Troy. All right, so that's a good way if you're a two-hander to still work on. See, that one wobbled a bit, so that was not a very good throw on my end. Gives you that perfect feedback, okay? Obviously, I need practice as a two-hander. So these are all the different ways that you can use different equipment. We've got other things in here, like we got a miniature volleyball here, same thing, okay? This one's multicolored, so I really get a good idea of seeing how those colors spin. I've got a Nerf football in case you don't want to cause any damage. This has got two colors. Again, it allows me to really see how that ball is rotating, okay? You're sitting up in your bedroom and you can just sit here and do this to yourself for a while and really work on, okay, I can see the angle's good. I want to try to spin it harder. So I'm really working on that wrist flick. That is a way that you can spend time by yourself working on that particular throw. So hopefully that gives you some good tips of things you can try at home. If you can't make it out to the bowling alley, spend some time by yourself in your room, whatever you want to do. It's a good way to work on that particular release. And I think over time, it's that muscle memory you're creating. You're going to get used to that, and you're going to be able to go to the bowling alley and try to mimic that same particular throw. And again, I even sometimes when I get to the bowling alley, I like to envision if I'm holding that ball, I try to envision that I have a football in my hand to where the tip of the football is down here and up here, and I'm trying to spiral that football, even though I'm holding a bowling ball, trying to spiral that football at an angle down the lane.
All these tips are really good for anyone, particularly those who are kind of just beginning or high school kids.
Yeah.
And we do the football and softball with them during our drills as well. And, you know, we've been doing this forever, right?
Yep.
Always throwing a football around each other like this just because of bowling in our world. Give it a try, you guys. Get outside and do it today because it's pretty nice out. But probably not today when you're watching this video because today won't be today.
Whenever it's nice, get outside, try these tips.
Absolutely. Hope everything helps. Keep up the hard work. When you're making strides for improvement, there's a chance it's going to decline before it starts climbing back up that hill, but you will start climbing back up that hill. Things will improve and you will see big improvements.
And hey, we love the comments. Keep the comments coming. If there's other drills and things that you guys like to do at home, let us know about those. We never stop learning ourselves, and any other tips that we can give other people as well, we love to hear them. So give us your thoughts on our tips, give us some other tips that you got, hit that subscribe button.
Like it, share it, tell your friends' friends, let everybody know.
With that said, we'll see you at the next video, guys.
Thanks for watching.
How'd you get to be so cool?